All right, so hopefully you've got paper, pen, and some device to take notes. This is where we're going to start. Let's start with the 5 principles to make any marketing campaign more effective. So these actually apply regardless of whether you are doing direct mail, Facebook ads, email, LinkedIn. You can apply them anywhere, but we're going to talk specifically about direct mail today. And I want us to work through them in your business. So we'll make this as participatory as we can. So 5 principles. First principle of what I like to call magical marketing. And this will define, it's the most important one. It will define the 50% of the success or failure of any marketing that you do. And that is the who. Who is your target market? So I'll give you some examples and we'll go from there. So this was the lobby of a dental clinic that was a client of ours. And I met this guy through BNI, and he came into my office for his marketing makeover consultation. And I asked the first question I would ask any of you, which is, who is your ideal client? So think about who the answer to that is as I give you this example, because he said, that's easy. I can help anyone with teeth. Unmute yourself, volunteer, tell me why anyone with teeth is not a good target market. I promise you won't be wrong.
It's everyone.
It's everyone, almost that, right? There are people who don't have teeth, and there are people who can't afford you, and there are people who have dentures. But yes, it is almost everybody. And I have yet to meet a dentist who has the marketing budget to reach every single person with teeth in his city. And you wouldn't want all of them as clients anyway. And this is his actual lobby, which looked like it hadn't been touched since 1970. And so what we did was we said, let's do a deep dive, ask you a lot of questions. We have several pages of worksheets where to determine who your ideal client is. And we looked at his CRM system. We looked at his patient billing system. We talked to his staff, and we were able to determine, and we'll work through this exercise with you if you want to volunteer. We were able to determine that his ideal patient was a 40 to 55-year-old affluent suburban woman who had gotten divorced in the last 6 months, was starting to date again, was terrified of competing against younger women, wanted to do something to improve her appearance, but was afraid of plastic surgery. That is a tightly defined micro niche target market, because they're not going to be 50,000 of those in any given zip code. There might be them nationwide, but for his practice, there were probably 20, 30, maybe 40 a month, maybe a little bit more. So I said, that's fantastic, doc. We can remake your entire practice to serve those people, but you got to ditch the 1970s decor. And he said, well, what do you want it to? I can hang some stuff on the walls. I said, if I had a magic wand and you let me wave it, I would remodel your entire practice. If you're trying to attract affluent suburban divorcing women, your 70s decor and brown wall paneling will not appeal to them. It needs to look like someplace that they would already go and spend a lot of money. It needs to look like a high-end 21st century medical spa. And he said, well, that's going to involve remodeling my whole practice. I said, yes, it is. So it took us a couple months and meetings with him, his staff, and his wife to convince him to close his practice long enough to remodel. This is way before COVID. So he remodeled his entire practice. We remade every marketing piece only designed to attract divorcing women. Every referral source we built was someone who could refer divorcing women. He, in the span of after reopening, in less than 6 months, owned the market. He stopped doing everything else except divorce smile makeovers that at the time were $25,000 cash, no insurance. The way the experience works for your divorce smile makeover is you and a friend, you have to bring a friend, get picked up in a Rolls-Royce limo, get brought to the office. You sit in a massage chair, not a dental chair. The massage chair has mani-pedi extensions, and someone does your nails, gives you a mani-pedi while you're getting dental work. Your best friend sitting next to you has the same experience. She didn't get her teeth done, but she gets a mani-pedi and a massage chair and aromatherapy. After your dental work is done, the limo takes you to a salon where you get your hair and makeup done. Then it takes you to meet your personal shopper, where you go to a high-end department store like Nordstrom's, and your personal shopper picks out 3 new outfits for you. Then you go to a photography studio and get pictures taken for the dating websites in your new outfit, new teeth, new hair. And then the limo takes you home. He went from working 7 days a week to 4. He quadrupled his revenue, and he has a 6-month waiting list by remaking his business to serve one specific target market. Now, you may be thinking, I'm not a dentist. Doesn't matter. You can apply that process, which we're going to go through, to any business, and we'll do it live in just a minute. Do you want to see the picture of what his dental practice looks like now? I see some heads nodding. That's what the lobby looks like now. People literally take selfies there, not before they've had any work done. And there are literally other local businesses in his market that have come shot TV commercials in the lobby. So let's go to the principle number 2. You know what? Before we get into principle number 2, let's give an example of principle number 1. Who would like to unmute themselves and role play, and we'll help you define your target market? Whoever. Chill is raising his hand. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, but unmute.
Yeah, my name is Mehul. Sorry, that's my company's name. We call it Chilex Tourism. So,
all right, tell everybody a little bit. Tell us about what is your business? What do you do?
So basically, we provide travel and tourism services in Dubai for anybody who's coming to visit Dubai.
Okay, so in essence, if I oversimplify that, travel agent specifically to get people to Dubai.
That's right.
Okay. Who is your ideal client at the moment?
This might be my wild guess, but it's women in the age of 35 to 45.
Okay. Women age 35 to 45. What else do we know about these women? Because there are tens of millions of 35 to 45-year-old women, at least in the US. How can we narrow that down?
Yeah, so basically they are 95% of our Indian origin, and they are looking for calling their family or friends to Dubai for vacation.
Okay, so are these women, are your customers, are they in the US or are they in India?
They are basically in UAE itself, local customers.
I'm sorry?
They are in Dubai only.
They're in Dubai, then why would they need a travel agent to go to Dubai if they're already there?
So what happens is they call their friends and family over to Dubai.
Oh, okay. Okay, so they're women in Dubai who are bringing their family to Dubai.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
I did not get that. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay, so that narrows the target market significantly. So in order to have family somewhere else, I would assume, are they married?
Yeah, all are married mostly. Yes.
Do they have kids?
Yes.
Okay, so now we have a married mom, 35 to 45, in Dubai. Why is she in Dubai and her family is not?
So what happens is, as they get married and their husbands are working in Dubai, they are nuclear family based in Dubai, and their extended family is always in India or maybe some other place. And that's why they call them for visit and they take our services.
And how are you reaching these women now?
Only WhatsApp.
I'm sorry?
WhatsApp.
Okay, so are you, forgive me for my ignorance, I've only used WhatsApp for messaging. Can you run ads in WhatsApp in front of Dubai women 35 to 45?
No, so what we do is basically we have a database of around 2,000 odd women who have inquired or taken services from us. And we again do weekly broadcast to them, like a single message with an offer. And they either refer us to somebody else new or they take the services. So that's how we do the business.
Okay, 2 questions. 1, do you ever send anything that's not an offer, that's purely educational or warm and fuzzy?
No.
I would start
We don't
doing
do
that. Because if you think about it, and this applies to everybody, right? As marketers, we are all guilty of this, right? We send out message, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because we got something to stop. We have stuff to sell. But
Yeah.
think about that. If you went to a cocktail party or a networking event and you met someone you never met before, and they immediately tried to sell you something, and the only time they talked to you was when they wanted money, how often are you going to talk back? You're probably going to get turned off.
Yeah,
And David Bayer chimes in and says, WhatsApp does have an ads platform. Awesome. I did not know that. I will have to check that out.
So
Okay.
I've just to add here. So I've just taken WhatsApp Business API. So generally what happens is if you get a WhatsApp, you can, a spam can be banned. You can ban the number or report the number. But when you take a business API, you can actually broadcast to any number of people you wish.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
So second question. Okay. So we're not sending any warm and fuzzy value adding content, which everyone should absolutely do. None of us are sending enough of it. We spend too much time going, hey, here's why you should buy my thing.
Yeah.
And then my second question is, you talked about referrals. Do you have any type of formal referral system in place that incentivizes them on a regular basis to refer other Indian women?
No, to be honest, I did that for like maybe 3-4 years back. I used to give them a weighing machine so that when they are traveling out, they outside, they can weigh their luggage before moving. So there was a nice weighing machine I used to give. If they refer me and the client is converted, I used to give that, but we have stopped that. And so no formal referral system.
Okay, what about, so I would tell everybody, we're all guilty of that, right? We do something, it works, and then we move on to the next shiny object.
Yeah.
So one of the things you might want to consider is, can we go back and look at stuff we used to do that worked, that we stopped doing because we got bored, not because it stopped working, and reactivate some of that. I will show you what a tell a friend campaign looks like in our world when we build them. Is loading. Give me 2 seconds.
So by the time it's loading, just a quick question. So when the margins are bleak, do you think this kind of things work? Because my margin is like $10-15 per transaction, for example.
Okay, my second thing would be, can we raise your prices? Because if you're making $10 to $15 a transaction, you need a heck of a lot of volume to make decent money. And $10 to $15 per transaction doesn't allow you much money for marketing cost.
Yeah.
So when you say $10 to $15 a transaction, is that per plane ticket? Is that, what do you consider a transaction?
So I consider transaction when somebody says, okay, my family is coming here, I need a visa for them, for example. So visa, I get, let's say $15.
Okay.
If they book ticket, air ticket, it'll give me maybe another $10, for example, not even $10.
Okay.
Air ticket.
So what I would suggest is, can we reinvent your offering so that you can charge a heck of a lot more money? Because my thought is, don't sell a visa, don't sell a plane ticket, because theoretically you're a commodity. They can get plane tickets anywhere. They could go on Kayak or whatever and find plane tickets. They could go other places. What if you sold a complete package that includes like everything you need for your trip, and we'll arrange tour guides, or we'll arrange transportation, or whatever it is. We make some type of concierge package to sell to the high end of the market. And now it's not I make $10 on a visa. Maybe it's a couple $1,000 and I'll book the plane tickets for you and we'll take care of everything.
Yeah, I can do that. I mean, I can package that kind of stuff. But as you know, what happens is you have lots of noise around. So when a customer comes and they say, oh, I want this much only, can you do it? Because we are already here and we know certain stuff. So I don't want a full package. Can you do a little bit for me? So we say, okay, at least something I'm getting. And then we end up not advertising for the bigger packages you are talking about, so.
Yeah. So this is what I'm going to jump for, just pivot. This is what our tell a friend campaign, referral campaign looks like. So the first thing this is a marketing automation software called Infusionsoft. Ours, they fill out a net promoter score survey, 0 to 10. Then based on what score they give, if they give us a low score, we say, oh my God, we're so sorry. They say video, we're so sorry. Let us jump on a call with you and find out what's wrong and how to fix it. If they are neutral, we get we'd really love to make you happier. Jump on a call. How can we fix it? If they're a promoter, if they give us like an 8, 7, 8, 9, or 10, they get a thank you. Will you do a testimonial video for us? Here's how, and here's why what we'll give you to do it. And then after the testimonial, they then get taken to a referral program where they fill out a form with their referrals contact information. And then not only does it send a thank you gift to them, it sends one to the referee, the referral, and introduces them saying, hey, David referred you. Here's why, here's what we're doing for him. Let's jump on a call.
This is an amazing system.
Yes.
This is an amazing system.
Thank you. All right. Let's move on to the next one.
Sure.
All right. Let me spotlight. 2 seconds. All right. So we talked about who is your target market. And hopefully while we were doing that exercise, you all started thinking a little bit more about your target market. Next is where. Where do they hang out? Because you have to be able to reach them and reach them affordably. So if I wanted 80-year-old widows, women whose husbands had died, who were suffering from arthritis, is Snapchat the best place for me to go to find them? Or TikTok? No, of course not. They're not on there yet. If I'm an 80-year-old woman with arthritis, you'd probably get me if you put an ad in Arthritis Today or rented Arthritis Today magazine, email or direct mail list, you got a much better shot at getting me. So the question is, where does your target market hang out? So let's have somebody else unmute and volunteer, and we'll talk about where are we going to go find your target market.
I'll play.
All right, Mr. David.
So our target market is independent marketing service providers and marketing agency owners.
All right. So marketing agency owners, who is the person you want to reach at the marketing agency?
We want to reach the leadership, so the owner.
Okay. So CEO or owner.
Correct.
Do you care what size the agency is?
Yeah, we want them to be at the smaller end. So either a 1-person agency or a small under 20 persons. We don't want large operations.
Okay. So I got owner of a small marketing agency, 1 to 20 employees. And technically you could sub-segment that because the one person is a solo proprietor and doing it himself.
And we know that we have different messaging to those two different audiences.
Awesome. So let's brainstorm a little bit here, and I won't just give you an answer. Where do your marketing agency owners hang out?
So the place that we're having the most luck finding them is through SaaS companies that they're partners of, like certified partners of
like Infusionsoft or Digital Marketer, ClickFunnels.
That sort of thing, except that at least the second one is a competitor of ours.
Right. But that doesn't mean you can't find them there. So this is a
true.
Great example for other people in the virtual room, because what you may not realize is, for example, I can go on Digital Marketer and there is a directory of every digital marketer certified agency. Same, everybody certified in ClickFunnels. Same with everybody. They sell that as, hey, you can pay to be in get certified and be in our directory, which means you can now pick them all day long. Now, in addition to the SaaS companies that they use to deliver their marketing solutions, what do they read? What magazines, what books, what conferences do they go to? What gurus do they follow?
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff that we've been focusing on is like Moz is a good example, or Ahrefs, or so SEO space stuff. Absolutely. We haven't ventured beyond that. Those are the two areas that we focused on, but obviously there's all of the social media. There's Social Media Today. There's the annual conference down in San Diego that they hold. Actually, there's a lot of conferences in San Diego.
I was going to say, I would look at traffic and conversion.
Yes.
There's a separate trafficking conversion summit just for agency owners and a separate program for agency owners. I would look at things like scaling up,
Mhm.
Burn Harnish and Gazelles. There's a ton of gurus in our space.
Yep.
Like Joel Kaplan or Jason Hornig or all the people who sell products to us, all of which you could run ads in front of them on Facebook or YouTube would probably work even better. I'm sure they're watching videos on training videos on YouTube.
To that point, we actually have gotten in front of a bunch of those types of videos on YouTube. So we've done the search of keywords and then targeted specific videos to get in front of.
Awesome. Beautiful. And we'll talk about direct mail in just a minute. All right, let's keep on going. So we talked about who is your target market. We talked about where do they hang out. Next is why. Why should they do business with you? This is what I would call your magical selling proposition. So I'll give you an example of how not to do it. So this is a recruiting brochure for Merrill Lynch. However, if you take off the Merrill Lynch logo and name and replace it with a Morgan Stanley logo, everything is still pretty much the same. It's interchangeable. This does not compel me to want to do business with them or as opposed to anybody else. So I will give you the answer, what you are looking for, why people should do business with you. I call it an MMP, a magical marketing proposition. This is the answer to the question, why should I do business with you as opposed to anyone else who does what you do, including doing nothing. Because whether you realize it or not, doing nothing is your competition. Because you have to get people off their butts to make a decision and punch in a credit card, make a phone call, have a Zoom meeting, whatever your conversion element is. So you can define your magical marketing proposition in terms of who you serve. So for example, most financial advisors, lots of financial advisors that we serve or that we talk to or that attend a webinar will give examples of, I help make sure you never run out of money in retirement. Like everybody does that. Or I help you get with peace of mind. Well, so does my burglar alarm company. So does my insurance company. So I'll give you an example of another reinvention of a business. We had a client, Nathan, financial advisor. And one of the questions I ask that you in our initial consult that you should ask yourself is, what do I hate about my business? What drives me crazy? If you could get rid of it, it would make your day. So Nathan said, I hate wearing a suit and tie. And I said, then why are all the pictures of you on your website and in your brochures of you in a suit and tie? He said, I never thought about that before. I said, what do you want to wear? He said, I want to wear jeans and camo. I said, we need some new pictures. And I said, what else do you hate? He said, I hate having an office. This was before COVID. He said, I hate having an office. I hate having to go to the office. I'm like, okay, magic wand. If I had one, sky's the limit. What would you do? He's like, well, I got like 30 acres of land I hunt on. I got a cabin. I got a blind. I got it all set up. If I could just get paid to hunt every day, I would do that. I'm like, okay, so let's reinvent your business. And he said, what does that mean? I said, well, let's remake all your marketing, because who do you want to hunt with? And he said, other conservative, right-wing, I'm not here to be political. I'm just here to market, like conservative right-wing hunters. I'm like, okay, well then your marketing has to appeal to them and repel the opposite. Because our marketing not just needs to attract who we want, it needs to repel the wrong people so you don't waste your time. Because if Nathan is going to spend time with his clients, he does not want left-wing Sierra Club save the whales people. They would drive him crazy. He wants the shotgun toting, whiskey drinking, right-wing Republican hunters, and he's in the South. So I said, we've got to reinvent your marketing, and you're not going to do appointments in your office anymore. He said, I'm not. What am I going to do? I said, your first meeting is no longer a numerical fact find in your office. Your first meeting is you take them hunting. If you guys are up in a blind for 3-4 hours, drinking and shooting, do you think by the end of those 3 or 4 hours, you will know if you want to work with that person and they will know if they want to work with you? He said, absolutely. I don't even need 3 hours of hunting to figure that out. I could tell probably in half an hour. I said, okay. And he said, what do I do about, reviewing their portfolio and their financial plan? I said, do it in a hunting blind. Just print your spreadsheets out and bring them. You want to hunt every day? Hunt every day. He said, I didn't know I could do that. So we had to revise all of his marketing. Here is his lead generation magnet, the bait he fishes with, which is how Republican hunters can overcome the 7 deadly investor traps that kill your portfolio's performance. What's he wearing? Camo and jeans. The report talks all about the 7 deadly investor traps that their advisor is putting them in and screwing them up. And it also describes the experience of working with him. But if you want your first meeting, if you want to find out if we're a fit, we're going hunting. And all of our future meetings, our reviews will not be conducted over a computer, over a desk. They will be hunting. And magically, he hunts now every day. So let's do a little bit of another role play and let's work on your magical marketing proposition. Dan Kennedy calls this a unique selling proposition, but it's the answer to the question, why should I do business with you? So give me somebody different. We'll allow repeats later and let's talk about your unique selling proposition. So Amanda, Steve, Bill, Scott, Noah, one of you, Ada, one of you needs to unmute and volunteer.
Sure.
Mute. Amanda.
All right, Amanda is unmuted. All right, Amanda, tell everybody about your business.
Okay, I'm a financial strategist. That's what I like to call myself rather than a financial planner. And my ideal client is CFOs, so that I can help them as well as the companies that they work for.
What size company is that CFO, a CFO of?
Mid-size. I don't go after any companies that have 100 to 200 people, at least 50 people, 10 to 50 people.
Okay, 10 to 50. Are they in any particular industry?
At this point, no.
Okay. And this applies to everybody. I would tell you it is much easier to make yourself the expert or guru in a specific field than it is to be generic. So I can help CFOs make smarter choices with their money and their company's money. Well, that campaign will have one level of success. But if you said, I help CFOs of independently owned multi-location restaurant chains, all of a sudden it is a much more narrow target market. You can craft your messaging specifically to, let's say, the restaurant industry, and you can get better results a lot faster. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now, at one point I was targeting the medical field because I used to own a home health care agency and I felt that I had kind of an affinity. So I could probably go after CFOs in the medical.
Yeah, you absolutely could. So again, this applies to every lesson, applies to everybody. Think about it. Amanda hit on it. Where do you have natural affinity for? Now, if you don't have affinity, you can borrow it, but it's much easier if you've already got it. So it made sense that for years, I'd say the first at least 5 years of us as a marketing firm, we only worked with financial advisors and insurance agents because that's where I learned marketing in that context. And that's what I knew and had the most affinity for. And then other businesses, other types started reaching out to us going, hey, I saw this, I saw that. My financial advisor sent me this. And he said, you did it, when I asked him how he got the marketing. So we branched out, but every niche we branched out in, we then learned how to speak that language, what their pain points were, what kept them up at night, what they were hoping for. So if you have prior experience in a specific industry, like Amanda's case, home health care, it makes a whole lot of sense for her to narrow that search to CFOs of home healthcare agencies because she already speaks their language and the marketing she writes to them will be way better than anything that is generic. It'd be the difference between going to, your general practitioner family doctor, who, depending on the city you live in, might make 50 to 100 grand a year. But the board certified brain surgeon might make a couple $1 million a year because of the value of their expertise. So I'm not saying you need to make $2 million a year. I'm not saying you need to be a brain surgeon, but we need to position you as the same level of expertise. So if we've got Amanda going after CFOs of small or mid-sized home healthcare agencies, I'm a CFO of that agency, of that home healthcare company. Amanda, why should I do business with you?
I'm sorry, you asking me?
I am asking you because we need to craft the answer to that question.
Okay, so why should they do business with me?
Yes, I'm your target market. We're pretending I am the CFO of a
Yes.
home healthcare agency, mid-sized. You somehow got in the door with me. You're saying, nice to meet you, Amanda. Why am I talking to you? Why should I do business with you?
Let's see.
I already have a financial advisor. Why am I talking to you?
Well, then I would ask him, questions such as, has your financial advisor showed you exactly how much tax you would pay when you retire? And they usually say no. And I say, well, why not? Isn't he your financial advisor? Wouldn't you want to know what you're looking at?
Okay, so we can use this for everybody. You do need, almost all of us, our clients are probably have tried other attempted solutions to the problem we solve, right? That marketing agency, David Bear is not going to be the first guy to tell him, we can help you run your agency better, right? He's bought books, he's bought courses, he's done other things. So we do have to unseat that existing relationship if they have one. Or if they tried something and failed, we need to show them that it wasn't their fault and that this time will be different and it will work, right? Why are there 37,000 different fad diets to lose weight? And why do people, we have to tell the person who's tried 5 and hasn't lost weight, no, here's why those 5 didn't work and why it's not your fault. And here's why this one will be different and you should try one more time. So we don't necessarily, at least from my perspective, and our communication expert, Bill Kanoki, can chime in if he wants, I would not be combative about their advisor. I am more, let's say, subtle or low key than that. And I know some of you might find that hard to believe, but I wouldn't say, well, why hasn't he shown you? Now it's blaming. That's, to me, I've learned that term from my therapist wife. That is blaming language. And what he subconsciously will automatically do is defend himself. He will he won't want to feel bad. He won't want you to make him feel bad about his decision to have that advisor. So he will try and defend it, which makes now you're fighting and your sales job just got much harder. So I would take more of a, if you remember the old TV show Columbo, the guy who looked like an absent-minded detective, but solved every case because he appeared so non-threatening that the criminals literally confessed without realizing it. So in this answer, I might rephrase that question. The first question is good, is do you know how much tax you're going to pay when you retire? Well, no, I don't think so, or I'm sure they're working on it. Or maybe it's, do you know to the penny how much you're going to pay in taxes when you retire? And he says no. Instead of going, well, didn't your financial advisor tell you, which again gets him defending his financial advisor. Well, would you want to know? Do you want to know in advance? Because if you wait till you retire, there's nothing you can do about it then. You kind of got to do this in advance. Do you want to know so you know what you're in for? Which would work better. Now, that still doesn't answer the question of why should he do business with you? So I need a reason. So it could be, and this won't be written the best because I'm making it up on the spot, but why should he do business with you? Because I specialize in helping home healthcare agency CFOs cut their taxes before they retire. Is it I specialize in working with CFO? I help CFOs of home healthcare agencies do blank. What's the blank?
All right, create better cash flow for the company. Okay,
that's, yep, create better cash flow. Now, this applies to everybody. If we can quantify results, it works it is much more convincing. So create better cash flow is good, but if I could say improve cash flow by 27.3%,
okay,
that is now much more compelling, even if it's an average. So it could be, I help CFOs of healthcare agencies improve cash flow 27.3% for the company while reducing their own personal taxes before they retire. It's not perfect. I need to know more about your business, but you get where I'm kind of going.
Yep.
Okay.
No, that's good. I love it.
Awesome. All right. Let's go on to the next one. which is we did who, we did where, we did why. Now it's time for the what. What are you going to do that is different? Because if Noah or Amanda or I are financial advisors, your public, your ideal client has a preconception most likely about what you do because you're not the first person they've worked with. So if I say I'm a financial advisor, we automatically think, I know what that person is, I know what they do, and I've got one, and I don't need to talk to this person. Because your reticular activating system in your brain is designed to filter things out. So I am trying to reject as much as possible all day long so that I can pay attention to the things that are important. So I'm trying to immediately sort every person I meet, every email I get into a box of, I don't need to respond to this. I can delete it, ignore it, or not reply, to, ooh, this needs attention. So we've got to present what we do differently so that we get past the filters to the point where the person's willing to listen. Because the first thing we need in any marketing campaign is their attention. If they ignore us, there's nothing we can do. So how do we position what we have as different? So for example, I use the I help people achieve peace of mind, which could be a financial advisor, insurance agent, burglar alarm, heck, could be a gun manufacturer for all I know. But if it's I help affluent families send their children to elite private colleges at half the cost, which is my financial practice that I still own, do you now know exactly what I do, who I do it for? David is nodding. Thank you. Do you, if you are not, if you don't have high school age kids, you immediately say, oh, I don't have to listen, which is good. I don't want you to listen unless you're the right person. If you have high school age kids, but you're convinced they're going to local public school, well, then you don't listen and you ignore me. If you have kids going to elite private colleges, but you have no idea, but you have no money, you're not going to listen. You're only going to respond to this. You're only going to say, tell me more, or how do I do that? How do you do that? If they are affluent kids going to high-end private schools. That's the response we want. You know, you crafted your messaging right. If somebody says, how do you do that? What do you do? Or how come I didn't know you could do that? Or the best one is like, why didn't my financial advisor tell me that? Why didn't my marketing company tell me that? So we have repositioned products. We have repositioned services. In the financial services space, we took a product that's been around for hundreds of years and a concept that some of you financial advisors will be familiar with called the infinite banking concept. And we repositioned it and called it something new because there are so many people who saturated that marketplace with that message that it wasn't going to attract any different attention. So we rebranded it for a specific target market. So we sell, in that company, we sold mega Roth IRAs to partners in law firms. It was the lawyer's mega Roth IRA. You can't Google mega, you Google it, you can't, it doesn't exist. I mean, there's other people who have called other things that, but you can't go Google it and then go to your advisor and say, hey, where do I get the mega Roth IRA for lawyers? And the guy goes, I don't know what you're talking about. So they have to come back to our client. So you can rebrand it. You can position it by who you serve. You can position it by how you serve them. You can position it by where you serve them. It just needs to be something that stands out from your competition. And then we're going to do the last part. The last principle is how. How are you going to get your target market to see your message? Where are you going to get your target market to see your message? It says what you do that's different and why they should do business with you. So that is what we call a magical marketing system. Looks something like this. If you have all 153 steps, don't worry, you don't need to start there. We started with one step. And every time we added another step, another channel, another platform, we made more money. I would tell you pick one target market, pick one offer, and pick one place you're going to reach that target market, and don't add other things until you mine most of the gold in that niche. So that's how I determine how I avoid most of the time. I'm not always successful. How I avoid shiny object syndrome. Because they say, wait a second, oh, that idea looks awesome. We should totally do that. You say, wait a second. Does that fit with what we've already got? Or is that a new shiny object when, hey, we don't have 10% market penetration in that industry yet, and we should really be focused on growing that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put you in a breakout, and you are then going to go through those 5 steps that you wrote down. I want you to tell the other person, tell your partners what your who, what, where, why, and how is. And if you don't have an automated magical marketing system, then you can skip the how piece, but you're going to talk about the who, what, where, and why, and brainstorm together, because you know your business too well. You can't see the forest for the trees because you're in it. You need a person who is not in your business to hear what you say and then ask from a place of total ignorance, hopefully, questions that would clarify it. Because you don't want to end up like me, where I learned this lesson the hard way. We would go to a kid's birthday party or whatever, a school event, with my wife and kids, and I would meet the other dads, and they would I would say, hey, what do you do? And they would tell me, and I would be off to the races with 15 different ideas on how they could grow their sales or their business or whatever it was. And my wife their eyes would glaze over. I didn't say I was an insurance salesman. Why'd they run away? I would say all that. And my wife overheard one once, and she's like, Seth, first of all, they didn't ask for your advice. You just couldn't help yourself. And 2, she said, honey, I love you, but you have to meet people where they are. You just talked to a massage therapist that knows nothing about marketing, and you had mapped out a 27-step funnel for her, and she doesn't even know what a funnel is, or a squeeze page, or an autoresponder. She's 15 years behind you. You got to start with where they are. So I'm going to put you in breakouts. You're going to go talk to each other and let them tell you what they think you said, because what you said is not always what people hear.